Yep, we're ready?
Let's go.
The meeting is called to order for the regular city council meeting, May 19th, 2016. Madam Clerk, the pledge, please.
Councilman Bodier is absent. Councilman Benton.
Present.
Councilman Hewitt.
Present.
And Councilman Wheeler.
Present.
Mayor Maselli is absent. And Mayor Pro Tem Councilman Johnston.
Present. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Special presentations.
I want to say congratulations to the girls, and will one of the coaches please come up to the podium and present the awards?
The 2015 Girls Bounce Ball East Bank Champs.
I was supposed to announce that.
You got that button.
Hello. Thank you for having us here tonight. I want to introduce my coaches that helped with me. My name is Julie Connect, and I'm the coach of the 2015 undefeated Bounce Ball East Bank Champs. And this is my, you can't hear us?
It's on.
There. And this is my daughter, Michelle Connect, who helped me also, and Christy Perry also helped us in this season. So I'd like to call the girls up one by one and give them their certificates. Pardon me. Sure. Will Mikhail Lusko come up?
One shift.
Lauren Seckinger. Gabby Perry. Okay, without y'all line up, please. Thank you.
Serious.
Can the team come line up along the wall here?
My goodness.
Destiny Linton. All the bounce ball people, come and line up on the wall, please. Destiny. Madison Calamari. Okay. Who's that? Who's Madison? I'll have to look at them. They were supposed to be. Rachel Newlat. Ashby Tuzat. No. Ramsey Aron. Thank you. Good job. Maddie Branch. Demi Catalano. She here? No? Demi's not here? Ava Lusko. And Kaylee Roche. Okay. I'd like Kaylee to stay up for a second. Kaylee also gets a separate certificate. She has won 3 consecutive East Bank titles, 2015 basketball, bounce ball, and softball. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, ladies and coaches and family. Madam Clerk, do you mind amending the roll call and adding my presence, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor
Thank
Maselli
you.
arrived 7:38.
Here.
Yeah, Chief Walker, can I finish while we're at
You
it?
want to switch back? Okay. Sorry, age of Reese's.
Madam Clerk, where are we in,
Special presentations. Number 2, 2016 Girls Biddy Basketball East Bank Champions.
First one's going to be Natalie Bonavillian. Olivia Bourgeois. Destiny Linton. Katie Delat. Lauren Seckinger. Michaela Jane. Maddie Branch. Mikhail Lusko. Colleen O'Connor. Gabby Perry. Sophia Di Vincenti. And Ashley Tuzat. We do have 4 other special awards. 3 years in a row, they won bounce ball, softball, and biddy basketball, which is Destiny Linton. 3 years in a row, consecutive East Bank titles, bounce ball, softball, basketball is Lauren Seckinger. And then for 4 consecutive East Bank titles for biddy basketball, bounce ball, softball, and that's it. 4 years in a row, Gabby Perry. And last one is also 4 consecutive East Bank titles for biddy basketball, bounce ball, and softball, and that is Mikhail Lusko. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, ladies. I think it should be noted that a special thank you should go to all our parents, our coaches, our playground, the community of Harahan in general for the support of these young ladies to help them achieve their goals. It's a wonderful, wonderful display of what we do here in Harahan, so thank you. I'd like to make a few comments. Please pardon me for my late arrival. I was at my son's award ceremony for his senior year at Jesuit High School. While I was there, I was informed that the city of Harahan potentially has 5 or more valedictorians from our city that go throughout the schools in the area. When I get those names, I'd be happy to announce it to our citizens. That's a lot to be proud of. I'd like to thank Father McGinn for holding true to himself and form. He sped through that ceremony so that I was able to get in the car, and I'm here, and I will be meeting up with my family to celebrate. At that award ceremony, and if I have this wrong, I'll have to correct it at another time, 3 Harahan young gentlemen were honored. Kenneth Krazan had multiple honors, 3 very specialized academic honors. Chris Abity had a special academic honor, I believe, as well. And my son, Matthew, I'm very proud of this. I am a radiation oncology nurse for years. In that profession, you come to respect physicists. And the physicist I know would appreciate me saying that it is at the center of all math and sciences. There may be some who might disagree. My son was awarded tonight the Frank T. Howard Excellence in Physics Award for Jesuit High School. And it was a very prestigious award. So our little city has some very bright young men and women, and please pardon that I ran late. We will now move to address the council, correct?
St. Rita
Address-
School,
What?
St. Rita School number 3
Oh, I
is
thought
on
I
the
was-
agenda, but
oh.
I don't.
They didn't show.
We're
believe
not doing the
anyone's-
St. Rita
yeah.
School presentation tonight. Okay, thank you. So we are going to move to address the council. Before, I just want to make sure that everyone knows when you come and address the council, please come and state your name and your address. Come to the podium to your right. You have a 3-minute time limit. I will put on the timer. Please refrain from any inflammatory comments. Also, no questions or comments will be entertained from the seated audience. If you would like any answers to any specific questions with the council or myself, we are more than happy to schedule an appointment. Address the council.
Okay, John Ream, 3 Ren Pass. We have a sand report that we had done, an analysis on the sand, and it's an 11-page sand analysis, the sand coming from the wood company sand pits. And in the sand, it contains some heavy metals, arsenic, beryllium, cadmium, chromium, copper, iron, lead, nickel, and zinc. Wood Materials dredges the sand from the bottom of the river, and the sand comes down the river, is washed down the river. Whatever was dumped into the river comes into that sand and is pumped up, dredged up from the bottom of the river. Besides the heavy metals, the sand contains silica, which it is silica, and OSHA has a final rule to protect workers from exposure to respirable crystalline silica. Workers are exposed 8 hours a day. The residents, including our children, are continually exposed to the silica, which comes over the levee when the wind's blowing from the south, anywhere from the south, and is blown into our community, and is reblown up again when we do our daily chores and the vehicles are running on the roads. On May the 14th, I witnessed, also the Harahan Police Department made a report on barge unloading in the city of Harahan, which is a violation of our ordinance 1333. It doesn't allow for barge unloading. This limestone being unloaded, transported from Harahan to the Jefferson Parish side. But the Harahan Police Department made a report for it. Also, we addressed the fire alarm getting ready to go off. Wood Materials was served with a notice of deficiency from the DEQ on February the 4th, 2016, and it was for things that had happened in the last part of last year, is in October, November last year. And part of the things that he said that he was going to do to get out of the notice of deficiency to supplement what he was supposed to be doing was to connect some berms up, and he sent a picture in to the DEQ. And what he was going to close this up, the berm between pits 3 and 4, he's going to close that up to satisfy this, what they were supposed to be serving them as, too much sand coming over the river into the residence area. The levee that he has a berm set up right here where the blue area is right there. He was supposed to close in these 2 areas here, and he did close in this area. And he never did close these areas in. But the DEQ let him out on the violation, or with the whatever he was served with. That's 3 minutes already? But he did reopen.
And I forgot to start it promptly, too, so you actually got extra.
I thought it was getting interesting.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, can I?
Let me help you. Hold something.
I'm sorry, let me get organized a minute here. Hi, my name's Evelyn Ream, and I live at 3 Ren Pass. Wood Company stated additional measurements the company would take to satisfy the NOD letter, which Johnny was just talking about. And this was his letter here. This was the letter that he wrote to DEQ when he had the NOD letter. Okay, it had actions that he was taking, and it had additional measurements that he was taking. So in those additional measures, he did say that he would close up the openings right there, which shortly after he was released, he broke the berm open. So that was very disheartening to the community. We have on here that this is dated May 9th. This is a very long truck right here with sand in it that does not have the cover. When the thing is in the front, that's no cover. The thing's in the back, it's a cover. So they were lined up in the morning on May 9th to come into this pit right here. Okay, what else I'd like to show you is, this is the one that he stated in this letter that he would close this and plant trees. What he did was, he broke it open again, and as you can see, this truck is being loaded. We're standing on the levee, okay? This truck is being loaded with sand right here. These are very deep into the pit. So anything that's like this, it's open to the public. This is what we're very concerned about, as Johnny was saying, what was in the metals that are in the sand and the particulates that are in the sand. So we're very, kind of really frustrated about this, because when he made that, statement that he was gonna do that, that gave us a little bit of hope for the residents. And then it was broke open. Okay, so then we also have here, we have a letter, an email from someone from the Corps of Engineers, and he states, "I am confident that if Wood Materials representatives were to propose an alternate alignment or path for the Hall Road, we would work with them to find something we could approve. However, that relocation would come fully at Wood's expense with no reimbursement. At this point, Wood Materials has never submitted a plan or a request for approval to relocate the Hall Road." Now, he has to request it for them to approve it, but they said they will work with him. So that needs to be done also. Also, we have right here, this is, Mayor, you already got this already. This is residents who have signed the request. We also did put a request in to Mr. Burris, as Mr. Burris did ask for it, and thank you, Mr. Burris. And so we have a lot of people who are being affected by this. Also, I would like to say, if you have any problems, to contact the DEQ. Thank you for the paper that you have here for people to contact, okay? So the DEQ, if you can contact the DEQ for sand blowing into the community, you can also send pictures. Trucks uncovered and sand on the road. Contact the police department. If you have speeding, you witness speeding, passing stop signs on the ramp, and using residential streets, and any action that's at nighttime that is vibrating your home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
How you doing? George Ackle. I have several businesses in Harahan. I have a residence at 57 Colonial Club Drive as well. I'm just following up with them. These people had stopped by a city block of warehouses I own on River Road, and I have an extreme dirt problem. Now, my property falls within the Jefferson Parish side of this pit, but it has gotten so increasingly worse. I mean, we're spending upwards of $20,000 a year just maintaining the property at the minimum from the sand. So I got pictures that were taken today. We pressure washed, cleaned our property Friday. It already looks like, a major disaster. We just spent well over $100,000 renovating the whole facade of the building. All the paint, everything is just full of sand, no clean finish. The inside of my tenants' facilities, and I personally run my businesses out of this warehouse. We actually mopped, pressure washed, and cleaned everything Friday. Inside we cleaned yesterday, and I have pictures that were taken today an hour ago that it's just ridiculous with dirt. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people can see, but this picture was taken probably 2 hours ago, or within the last 2 hours. The sand on the pit, that is, in scale, almost 10 feet higher than the top of the levee. So I don't know if they have transferred from problems from Harahan to the Jefferson Parish side, but it's like a windstorm in any given day. The sand just blowing. I mean, you open your mouth, you got a mouthful of sand. And if you look at my property, this was all pressure washed by about 20 guys on Friday. And you can clearly see all the sand. And and the worst part is when it rains, the sand that's on River Road carries down and floods my property. And we're talking, I'm not talking a half inch, I'm talking 3-4 inches of sand. And you can't sweep it up. I got to get a Bobcat, and I got to get sweepers and pressure washers to clean it. It's not an easy task. It's also causing some other problems because all of my sub pumps and all of my loading docks are clogged up and drained. It's becoming a plumbing issue, sewage backup issue. But I mean, you can look at the photos. None of the cars, I run a very high-end like auto salon there that we do high-end extreme stuff. And this is the inside of the warehouse. I have epoxy floors that is exactly the same as an airplane hangar. It's a 4-coat epoxy. The dirt was so bad with the concrete, I did the epoxy. But as you can see, this is settlement in 2 days on the ramp, on one ramp. The inside, the sand blowing into the warehouses and everywhere. I mean, it's a good 1/8 of an inch thick, just in the first 20 feet of the doors, just getting through the wind cracks. So, you know, I'm not out to hurt a business, but I can tell you, I knew it was a problem when we bought it, because when I bought the property, they said, we asked why they had this kind of maintenance. Didn't realize it was this bad, but within the last year, it's gotten really bad. So if I can help in any way, you know, I brought these pictures, and I would love my property to be clean.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
getting back to you.
All right.
Rhonda Bagby. What I'd like to know is exactly what are the citizens of Harahan, what should we expect from the council? We're paying your salary. I'd like to know exactly what you're doing except causing chaos. This is unacceptable, and making spectacles of yourselves. And Dana, are you a psychiatrist? No answer? I take that as a no.
No, ma'am, I'm not answering you.
Okay. Well, then, the only thing that I know you are is a nurse, and a nurse cannot diagnose anybody.
Fred Klotz, 41 Oak Avenue. Again, I'm here about the sand issue.
One pick the mic up a little
It
bit.
gets, the sand issue,
You're
it gets.
tall.
Yes. It causes a problem at our property. We've got sand everywhere. In fact, I just changed my air conditioning filter. I change it every month. I gotta go to 3 weeks, because it gets in the house. And I've never seen air conditioning filters get clogged like this so quickly. I've run businesses, I've run concrete companies that were surrounded by residents. We could not let any sand leave our property in the street. We couldn't let dust blow off, DEQ. If one resident called, I would have to write reports. This seems very, very unusual that this company is able to do this without any oversight. I know in Plaquemines Parish you can't do it. You sure can't do it in Orleans Parish, because every time we had problems in both those parishes, we got cited by the city, we got cited by the state. And every other company of this kind around here that I know the people that run them all have the same issue. So it's very unusual this has been able to go on this long. And it seems unusual that we're talking about it this amount of time. And it's basically all I got to say.
Thank you.
Kay Mitchell, 41 Oak Avenue. Mr. Woods, I'm going to talk to you because I'm a person. I'm a hairdresser. I talk to people. And I just want to give you an idea of what your business takes from my life, okay? First thing you take is a quality in my life, okay? I work hard. I do a lot of volunteering. You know that. I do a lot of volunteering. And you take the quality of my life. I help rehabilitate shelter dogs. We cannot keep up with fleas and flies. I've never had this problem ever. So you take the comfort from my shelter dogs. You take my privacy, because guess what? At 7 o'clock, the radios come through my television. At first, I thought we had ghosts in the walls. And it comes through my television. It's crazy. Okay, we know when it's 7 o'clock. It's take away my happiness. Everybody deserves to be happy. You live in Mid-City. I have a business in Mid-City. Okay, I go work in Mid-City, but I come home to Harahan. Why don't you buy a house in Harahan, right by your business, and experience what we're going through? There's some beautiful houses here, and you take a lot from Harahan. So why don't you come live here and be a part of Harahan? Also, it would have been nice to see the Lady Hawks run out of here with wood materials on the back of their jerseys. You got to give back more. Give us respect. Give us consideration. Everybody deserves that. You have that in Mid-City. We're going to have it here in Harahan because we're not leaving. We're not giving up. This is it.
Hi, my name is Lee Adams, and I live at 2029 Generis. I have a couple of issues that are completely unrelated to the major problem on the Batcher. The first one involves the crime problem on Hickory with the apartments. A couple of months ago, about maybe 6 weeks ago, plus or minus a week, I sent the council and the mayor a copy of Kenner's ordinance regarding what they're doing with the landlords and for their apartment complexes and putting some of the onus on them to hold them responsible for the crime that occurs on their properties. We really would like that ordinance passed, or at least some version of it that's real close to it, because we think that that ordinance would allow code enforcement and the chief to really come down on the problematic tenants in those complexes. The second issue is I'd like for the council and the mayor to work with the parish to eliminate that stoplight at Sauvé and Hickory that's getting ready to get turned on Monday. It's a $250,000, $300,000 light that has no use and has no value to that intersection. I called the parish to find out the reason for the light. They said there was lawsuits filed against the parish. I'm asking them to provide proof of that. The lady on the phone did tell me that the light will only turn red when there is traffic coming from the dead end, which I actually find hard to believe. The problem is that the Generis will be used as more of a bypass with that light in play than it is now. And there's a lot of young kids on that street, and there'll be blood on the hands of a lot of people if they don't solve the traffic problem on Generis. Whether it's a speeding or everyone trying to get in or out of River Ridge, it's a major concern for us on Generis. And I ask that the chief of police try to increase the patrols, take more radar between the hours of 7 and 9 in the morning, 4 to 6 in the afternoon, bike patrols. I have a nice chest full of water for you guys. But anything you guys can do to help Generis, sometimes we feel we're sort of left out. We're sort of the panhandle of Harahan, and ask if we get a little bit more attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Sarah Woodham. I represent Wood Materials Sandpits. And I would like to say that commercial activity on the Mississippi River is not new. The Port of New Orleans supplies grain, United States grain, to feed the world. We supply energy to countries that cannot produce their own. The Mississippi River sand has been the foundation for homes and schools and churches and shopping malls to stabilize our swampy region for the last 100 years. Right now, it's providing stability to build a new runway for our airport. In December 2015, we began what we thought were good faith measures and discussions to address the residents' concerns about our business operations, something we've always tried to do in our 35 years of operating our facility. But we have truly seen in the past weeks that our efforts have gone unnoticed and are not deemed sufficient to some of you. Our limitations due to Pump to the River project have not been understood or appreciated. In the spirit of being good neighbors, and at the last meeting, I told you we would consider moving the Hall Road and closing the gaps between our berms. And in keeping to our word, we have done exactly that. Here are some of the steps we have taken to further advance the possibility of moving the Hall Road. As previously mentioned, we met in person with the Corps of Engineers back in February to discuss the Corps' requirement to relocate the road. After that meeting, we had an engineer analyze the requirements and scope of work. We have now engaged and met with a reputable engineering firm to perform all the engineering analyses and design the plans that will be required to submit a Corps of Engineer application. This includes taking cross-sections from the top of the levee to the middle of the river, soil borings all over our site. We've engaged an environmental consultant that will review and advise us along the way of best management practices in connection with the redesign of our entire 130 acres. We ask that you all please understand this process will take time. And I'd like to add that this process is voluntary. We do not have to do this. We are in compliance with our permits, we follow the regulations, and we are doing this out of goodwill to the neighborhood. We ask you to remain patient while we undergo the cumbersome, costly, and time-consuming process of reconfiguring our 130 acres on the Mississippi River. The permitting process might take months, and then if approved, we'll need to reconfigure the entire site as a result of the new location of the road. In the meantime, we'll look for other remedial measures that we can take, including maybe asphalting.
May I have a
when we
motion
stop.
to extend time for Ms. Ham? I have a motion by Councilman Benton. Seconded by Councilman Johnston. All in favor?
Yeah.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Please continue.
We're considering asphalting the road in the meantime if the permitting process takes too long. If you are patient and work with us and not against us, we could direct more of our time and energy and resources to resolving the concerns in a positive manner. I ask that you quit throwing darts that we continuously have to duck. It's distracting, and it is making it hard for us to move forward to accomplish what you want us to accomplish. For example, calling the police on us last week to say that we're dumping into the river. Really? Because when the police got there, they discovered that we were simply unloading a barge of limestone, which we are permitted to do. Now, this took 3 hours. This is just one of many examples of the times we have to stop what we're doing and respond to darts, daily darts thrown at us time and time again by harassers. Please be patient, work with us and not against us. We want to help. We want to help reconfigure our facility, move the road, make everyone happy. It is a voluntary measure. Please help us help you. Thank you.
Robert Johnson, 6735 Riverside Drive. Sarah Woodham, in a letter dated October 24, 2001 to the Corps, where she requested the transfer of a permit from GW Contractors to Wood Children, stated, "We agree to abide by all terms and conditions previously set forth." Okay, one of the terms of the permit is that the permittee will refuse to load any sand haul trucks that do not have and use a serviceable tarpaulin that covers the entire load. That letter was from the Corps to Wood Marine Services, dated September 5th, 1984. The same condition was in a letter from the Corps to GW Contractors, dated February 25th, 1997. Same condition repeated in a letter from Corps to Wood Children LLC, dated April 2nd, 2002, approving the consolidation of 3 existing permits into 1 sand dredging permit. We also have a requirement that operator must remove sand that falls from trucks onto public roads. The requirement from the Corps was that the permittee will remove accumulations of sand that fall from sand trucks off River Road by the access ramps to the sand pits. This was in a letter to Wood Marine Services dated September 5th, 1984. Same condition in a letter dated February 25th, 1997. Same condition repeated in a letter from the Corps to Wood Children LLC in a letter dated April 2, 2002. These things aren't happening. Trucks move on the haul road without covers. The truck should not go out of park until a cover is fully in that load, over that load, and the cover should not come off until that truck is in park again. Also, we want to be good neighbors, but we seem to ignore our neighbors when we want to. Applications to the coastal management zone and to the Corps denied that there was any residential property that abutted. In fact, Harahan Wood abuts 28 residences along Riverside Drive. And I and my 27 neighbors mow the lawn of Harahan Wood, where their grass extends on the other side of Riverside Drive, their property, and we mow it every week. And we fight sand every day.
We will now address the council. Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to recognize that you were here.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, members. Just want to give you a quick update on session.
Why don't you tell everyone who you are?
Oh, I'm sorry.
sir?
Kirk Talbot, State Representative, District 78, Harahan, parts of Mettering, River Ridge. We're about 3 weeks to the end of session. Session ends June 6th. We are about to take up the budget this week. I guess the biggest issue so far that I've seen really has been the budget and TOPS. Just to give you a quick little update, when the budget left the House committee last week, TOPS was fully funded. There was an amendment to strip about a third of the money out of TOPS that unfortunately passed last week. I did vote for that. But, you know, it still has to go through the Senate committee and to the Senate floor. And I feel confident that I, along with many others, will do everything we can to fully fund TOPS. I think it's something that's very important and that definitely needs to happen. And I think the money's there to do that. So we will be working diligently to make sure that happens. Session will end June 6th. The governor has talked about maybe calling in a special session that actually may start at midnight on June 6th to address revenue issues. You know, that's, we don't really know what the table of contents for that is. I know a lot of it is reducing the federal itemized tax deductions on your taxes and raising revenues in various other ways. So we'll address those and see how that pans out. Capital outlay, you know, is something that very tight this year. We're doing a lot of capital outlay reform just because of the past decades have been a terrible practice of how we prioritize money. I'll fight as hard as I can to make sure, you know, Harahan gets its due. But, you know, it is a very tight year and money is very tight. But, you know, we'll do the best we can. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And if I could come back a month from now when session's over, I can kind of give you a little laundry list of kind of like some legislative highlights on what transpired.
We would love to have you back, and I don't want to put you on the spot. If I knew you were coming, I probably would have prepped you with some questions, and maybe if you come back next month, if
Oh,
you
yeah, I
need
definitely.
some time.
Definitely.
But of concern were the increases on some taxes that affect the
Right.
municipalities.
Right.
And it greatly affects municipalities such as ours to put an additional burden on some of these
Right.
additional taxes that are passed through the company that runs, for one example, the wastewater treatment plant.
Mhm.
These are a very, it's a very large additional financial strain to our community. I didn't know if you had any thoughts or any concerns, or if you would like to think about that.
I mean, personally, my thoughts are that we don't have a revenue problem, that we have a spending problem. There's others in Baton Rouge that think otherwise, and that they think that we can raise taxes to get out of this problem. That is not something that a lot of us, especially in Jefferson Parish, believe in, and we will be doing everything we can to make sure that waste and corruption and mismanagement and inefficiencies are taken care of in this massive $30 or $28 billion budget before we raise any taxes. And that's where, frankly, the governor and a lot of us have kind of butted heads on. And, you know, it's easy just to pass an unfunded mandate down to a municipality where, you know, you're kind of left holding the bag and you have to spend money that you could be using to fix your streets and your drainage and all the problems that really affect people's daily lives. And I think it's a terrible practice to do when, you know, we need to be looking internally on what we can do. And, you know, we are, and to the governor's credit, he's working extremely hard. You know, his car is there when we get there, and it's there when we leave. So we'll do the best we can to find common ground and to work it out.
I just think I wanted to speak on behalf of Harahan, how difficult it is. And I always fear there's no such thing as a temporary tax.
That's true. Now, some of the taxes that I voted against, but that were raised, the sales tax, for example, statutorily they will end in a year. So, Right. There's been examples of temporary taxes that lasted 25, 26 years. They were quote-unquote temporary. These taxes do end at that time. So they will have to have a new bill filed and a new vote in the House and Senate to pass. And we took some criticism on, why we didn't extend those and that we're just kind of kicking the can down the road. We're putting the governor on notice that this is a temporary fix. This money's not going to be here. So we better figure out what our revenue issue is and our spending issue is, instead of just writing a blank check in perpetuity where money just keeps coming in, because this thing's it's a monster, this budget, this state, and it's I think sometimes the only way to streamline government is to starve it, which it's kind of brutal, but that's just the kind of the way it is. I'll give you a quick example. When DHH, we voted down some taxes that didn't pass, and at the end of the session, DHH was going to have to take a $40 million hit, and dialysis machines were going to be unplugged and all that. Within a week, they found $40 million in inefficiencies, and bam, that was gone. So that just tells me that we really need to look at the spending side and not necessarily just start raising revenue to get ourselves out of this problem. And oil is a problem. Oil's going up a little bit. So that will help. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that the economy is great and that things are doing well. They're not. But that doesn't mean we need to raise revenue necessarily.
And I think Harahan is a shining example of what you can do with very little by tightening your belt.
Absolutely.
And making sure that the operations are streamlined. And
Well, you can't print money, and nor can we.
That's right.
Only the Fed
That's
can do
right.
that, and we don't want to follow their example.
So thank you. We would
Okay.
love to have an update
I will.
next month.
Absolutely. If
And
anybody
if you
has
would
any
like,
questions.
if you contact the office, we'll put you under special
Sure.
presentation so you'd have some more time
Okay.
to address.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you, members. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, can I ask you a quick question? When people come to address the council, and I'm being sincere, how do you make the determination if someone gets longer than 3 minutes? How do you make that decision?
It's a council decision on.
Well, you requested it tonight. I'm just trying to understand how you make that determination, how some citizens can have longer than others. I'm being sincere. I'm just trying to figure out how you come to that conclusion.
I believe that it was started when you personally were upset when the time was limited for a citizen.
You
and-
requested it this evening.
and-
I'm asking why you made that determination. This isn't about
this
me.
is
I'm
one
asking
person
you.
speaking at a time, Ms. Hewitt. One person speaking at a time. When that came up, when a private citizen came up and had much to say,
I need 3. I just need 3.
that you were dismayed, that it was made clear that a motion could have been made to extend time. So when a motion is made for the extension of time, the council can either grant it by request with a vote or not. So it is at the discretion.
You requested it this evening. 2 people got cut off because they were over their 3. Somebody got to speak longer. I'm asking you, how does the mayor make the determination to request the council to extend it? That's the question.
I think that anyone can request the motion to be
Okay.
extended.
Thank you.
And Ms. Hewitt, this is not to be argumentative
Thank you.
at all. Did
you.
we address the council?
No.
Or?
No.
We didn't.
Okay, thank you very much. Go on. I lost track. Thanks.
Okay. My name's Bernard Dupree. I live in the 100 block of Elodie Street. And if you want to see just how bad the dust and the sand is, last night I had to travel the River Road at 11:45 last night and Monday night, and I ran into the same problem both nights. Excuse me. Going to Elodie Street and hitting the River Road, you turn left. I had to go towards Auctioner. When I turned left, you can only see about 100 yards. It's like a fog. And everybody over there, everybody on Elodie Street, everything you own is covered in dust, everything. But anyhow, this gentleman was up here just now talking about the tops on the trucks. I was going towards the UP Long Bridge, a dump trailer, a big truck. It's not a tandem, it's a dump trailer. It was coming off the ramp. He got on a river road, and I know for a fact he didn't have a top. They had so much dust I couldn't see the back of the truck. I went Hickory Street, the Jefferson Highway, and went my way. That happened 2 nights, Monday and last night, at almost identical same time, 11:45. So you have the dust problem day and night. It's around the clock. It all filters all into the people's neighborhoods. It's on your cars. So you can't even light a barbecue pit on a Sunday. That's pitiful. You know, you guys y'all need to try to do something, you know, with the sand deal. Water, these people are wetting the road. They're doing what they can with that, but everybody knows water is what's is calm the dust problem. Why they can't wet the sand back there? All the sand's all over the road back there. The trucks roll over it. They grind it up like talcum powder, and it blows everywhere. You need water every day. You need to wet it. That's the only thing I can see. But thank you.
Thank you. We will now address the council. Approval of the minutes.
Reading of the minutes of the council meeting on April 21st.
Do I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes?
Motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnston, seconded by Councilman Benton. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion passes.
Reading of the minutes, approval of the minutes of the council meeting on April 21st.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnston, seconded by Councilman Benton. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion passes.
Reading of the minutes of the special meeting on May 4th.
Do I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes?
Motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnston, seconded by Councilman Benton. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion passes.
Approval of the minutes of the special meeting on May 4th.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnston, seconded by Councilman Benton. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion passes.
Communications. The Board of Adjustments and Appeals did not meet in April. And reading of the minutes of the Planning and Zoning Board on May 4th.
I'd like to make a clarification at this time. I think Mr. Burris had made some comments about recently about approving minutes of the Planning and Zoning Board. City Attorney Burris, do you mind speaking to that?
My question, I think I sent it to all of the councilmen. I'm not really sure why you all are approving the minutes of some other agency. I mean, you weren't there to hear what happened at the Planning and Zoning Board, so maybe this is just the custom in Harahan, but it's really unnecessary. It's that board that approves its own minutes. So
Do we have to accept them in any kind of way since it's a board for the city?
not that I know of.
Okay.
You know, they report to you the action they've taken on the ordinances that come before them, and they send you communications as to what they've done. But as far as their minutes go, that's for that board to
Okay.
approve. So you might want to consider that for the future. I don't think it really needs to be on the
Thank you very much. Do you recommend that we withdraw this from the agenda tonight, or?
It's been your custom and practice,
Okay.
so go ahead.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Do I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes?
Motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnston, second by Councilman Benton. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion passes.
Approval of the minutes of the Planning and Zoning Board on May 4th.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnston, seconded by Councilman Benton. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion passes. At this point, I'd like to ask for a motion to amend the agenda to add the proposed ordinance. It will be in order. Madam Clerk, the title of the ordinance is, do you mind reading it?
Oh, sure. Do we have to have a motion or just?
We'll keep it in order. I just want to get make sure that we get approval to put it on.
The following, or you want me to just read the title?
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance of public improvement refunding bonds, Series 2016 of the City of Harahan, State of Louisiana, prescribing the form, terms, and conditions of such bonds and providing for the payment thereof and providing for other matters in connection therewith.
And,
Proposed ordinance number 2016-7.
and Madam Clerk, have you provided copies to the council and?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to amend the agenda to?
Motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnston, seconded by? We might as well keep the rhythm going. Councilman Benton, all in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion passes. We'll amend the agenda and put that under the second item for proposed ordinances. Resolutions.
Proposed resolution number 2016-4. The following resolution was proposed by Councilman. Would y'all like to do this unanimous?
Unanimously.
Unanimously.
That's fine.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Harahan adopting the 2015 Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire.
Would anyone from the public like to speak to this resolution? Be it that there's no one from the public who would like to speak to the resolution, it is now open for council discussion.
I just have one question on it. The very last page, signature page, I don't know if it's a big deal or not, but next to Mayor Pro Tem, Sue signed on the last page.
We
Is it-
can reprint it.
Right,
We
okay.
can amend that.
Right.
We can have a motion to amend the language of where the pro tem signature is? Yes?
Why would only Sue Benton have signed
Right,
it?
that's no.
She
Ahead of
was here
time.
for executive session. So Madam Clerk was in the room, saw her, and said, if you want to sign it now, you may.
And I've never seen this before. Could you just give me a little background on this?
Mr. Donahue? Donahoe? I do that to you every time. I am so sorry.
On how to say it?
Well, actually, can you just borrow the,
Just borrow his microphone.
there was one there.
Good evening. My name is James Donahoe. I work for Linda Height Lulu as her senior accountant. She extends her apologies for not being able to attend the meeting this evening, and she has prepared a statement for me to read to you all. The Louisiana Compliant Questionnaire is a document prepared by the legislative auditor and is a required part of any governmental external audit. Upon completion, it is required to be signed by the mayor and the council members and must be presented to and adopted by the council by means of a formal resolution at an open meeting. Postal Wait provided the questionnaire to Linda. She met with the mayor and various department heads to assist in answering the questions that were applicable to the city and marked not applicable to those that were not. She has informed Postal Wait that the questionnaire is before you at this meeting, and they are expecting to receive a copy and a resolution when they return.
So is it this is a customary document?
Yes, ma'am. According to Postal Wait, they have provided this in the past, but unfortunately, they were unable to provide proof of this fact, either of the signed or unsigned versions of either of these for previous years.
Okay, thank you. Any other further discussion? No? Do you want to make a motion to correct the signature page to reflect the correct Mayor Pro Tem?
That's fine. I mean, I don't know if it's going to affect anything. That's what I'm saying, being that it's,
I'm just suggesting.
I mean,
So
right.
that for accuracy.
Well,
I
what
think
do you
it's-
think if it's not signed by the right person?
Right.
Should we change it?
or
I think we
Mr.
can
Bieris.
just make a motion to identify the correct Mayor Pro Tem and alter the document.
Yeah, seems fair.
Okay.
Would you
Yeah.
like to make that motion?
Sure, I'll make that motion to,
You
yeah, go ahead.
you want to say, I don't want to speak
Okay.
for you,
Okay. I'm going to
Councilman.
make the motion to amend the signature for Mayor Pro Tem.
To state that it's Councilman Craig Johnston.
Correct.
Okay. I have a motion by Councilman Johnston. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second by Councilman Wheeler this time. I think she beat you to the punch. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion passes. The document is amended. We can actually give the document to the city attorney if you would like to.
Do you want to see this?
The
I think
the
it's
original.
last page, Mr. Bieris.
The original.
What do I do, just scratch your name, put my name, or We need whiteout.
No, no
No
whiteout.
whiteout. Line through it.
We'll say 19.
Thank you, simple error. Thank
Yep,
you for
no
picking
problem.
that up. Any other discussion on this form? We can now proceed with the vote. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Johnson, seconded by Councilman Benton. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Resolution passes. And if we could pass the document for signatures? And we'll have to get Councilman Bodier's signature. Madam Clerk, do you mind contacting him at some point to get him in to, so that we can meet our deadline? You can. Madam, oh, thank you. If you give it to Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Ordinances for approval.
All right, ordinance, proposed ordinance number 2016-3. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Benton and seconded by Councilman Hewitt. An ordinance to amend and reordain Ordinance 1333, Section 15, relative to zoning classification, NU Non-Urban Bachelor District, Harahan Municipal Code 1990, Appendix A, by amending subsection B thereof relative to permitted uses by adding thereto a new subsection governing the hours of operation of commercial enterprises therein, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
City Attorney Burris, I just have a procedural question. I know there was discussion because the Planning and Zoning Board deferred this by 2 months of waiting their recommendation. And Councilman Wheeler had stated that potentially this shouldn't be voted on until we get that recommendation.
Yeah, technically, this isn't before the council right now. It's still at the Planning and Zoning Board. So my suggestion to Councilman Benton, since she's the author, was simply to defer it until the August meeting, because Planning and Zoning is going to take this up at its July meeting.
Okay. So do we can do that motion before we
Yes.
don't have to address
Just
the council
move
with
to-
it, okay?
move- yeah,
Do
move to defer it until the August meeting.
Make a motion to defer till August.
the August regular city council meeting. Madam Clerk, do you have the date of that August meeting? Okay. I have a motion to defer to the
Oh, I'm good.
August
Good.
regular city council.
August
Thank you.
18th.
August
August
18th.
18th.
Thank you, which is August 18th.
Mr.
Do I have a second?
I think
To
Dana.
defer? I have a second by Councilman Hewitt. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion passes to defer.
Right, so there-
Mr. Beers, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I wasn't at Planning and Zoning. We had that special council meeting before.
Right.
Did the members articulate why they wanted to put it off for 2 months and not look at it in June?
There was a lot of discussion during the meeting. The Woods representative showed up, the citizens showed up, and the general sense, and I've read their minutes, you just approved the minutes of that meeting. The general sense was it was going to take that long to at least come to some sort of resolution to see if there was a compromise. It was at that meeting that I first heard that Woods was going to propose this new berm that would act as sort of a breakwater for the wind coming through one of the breaks. And then, as I said, just last Friday, I heard that they were going to propose moving the Hall Road. And Planning and Zoning, I don't think, has even heard of that. So at their next meeting, or in the July meeting, I would expect that they would see something a bit more fleshed out, maybe some deadlines as to when all of this is supposed to happen, and also take some input from the citizens as to whether, you know, this is an acceptable resolution of what's transpiring out there. So that was the upshot of the concerns expressed by the Planning and Zoning Board members, and that's why I think they pushed it off for a couple of months.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, can you make sure that the Planning and Zoning Committee Board gets a copy of the minutes from this meeting so that they understand what's transpired here? Thank you very much. Proposed ordinance number 2016-5.
The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Bodier and seconded by Councilman
Second.
Councilman Hewitt.
Hewitt. Proposed ordinance number 2016-5, an ordinance approving the re-subdivision of 651 Hickory Avenue, lots 13 and 14, Square P, Harahan City Subdivision, City of Harahan, Parish of Jefferson, State of Louisiana, made by Mandel Edwards Surveying Incorporated, dated November 17th, 2015.
The public hearing is now open. If anyone would like to speak to this proposed ordinance, please come up, state your name and address. If there's no one this is to address the re-subdivision.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Being that there's no one else from the public, we will now address the council. Council discussion on the proposed ordinance.
No
Any discussion? If there's no further discussion, we can proceed with the vote. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Ordinance passes. Ordinances for introduction.
Proposed ordinance number 2016-6. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman. Who would like to take this one? Amending 2015 budget.
What is this for?
Amending the 2015 budget.
And why are we doing that?
We can,
This was first read.
would you like to get it introduced and then we can have Mr. Donahue speak to it? I know. I thought it. I did say
Yeah, you said
ho,
Donahue.
ho. Thank you. Ms. Benton, do you want to introduce it? It's introduced by Councilman Benton.
An ordinance amending ordinance 1806, the annual budget of revenue and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2015 for the city of Harahan, Louisiana.
Mr. Jimmy Donahoe, would you like to please comment about this, this proposed ordinance?
Yes, ma'am. Linda left me another statement to read. As discussed at previous council meetings, the auditors began allocating insurance expenses from the general fund's non-departmental section to the police, fire, highways and streets, and recreation departments. The method used by Postal Weight for this allocation was based upon a percentage calculated upon the expenses each department had as compared to total expenses of these departments. When closing out the books for 2015, in preparation of the audit, Linda looked at the actual insurance policies that were paid for and then coded out. These policies are easily identifiable as to which department they belong to. For example, insurance for the fire trucks, sports accident insurance for the recreation department, and police vehicle insurance. Lastly, the commercial property insurance, which is charged to the city based upon square footage. We use the same square footage as the policy to allocate the total insurance paid to the proper departments. Linda had promised you better accounting in this example of that. We no longer have an allocation based upon a percentage of estimated expenditures for some departments. We now have the actual expenses for all departments based on the policies. The 7 departments are the general fund, non-departmental, fire, police, recreation, maintenance, court, and the senior center. With some of the background regarding how the insurance expenses for each department were determined. The amendment before you tonight is to fix a budgeting error. Last year, despite the auditor stating that the departments should show their portion of the insurance expense, the budget still showed the entire expense, almost $225,000 under non-departmental. The problem comes up at the end of the year. Those 7 departments show an overage in expenditures in the insurance expense line item because there was no budget put in place for those departments. Conversely, non-departmental shows an underpayment in this line item. Chief Tim brought this to our attention, and he is correct. It's not fair to be showing an overage when there was no budget allocated to those departments. The insurance budget amount was $224,499,000. Actual insurance costs were $227,476. The budget amendment shows $181,000 worth of insurance cuts being passed to the proper departments. We urge the council to pass this amendment to ensure the final audit report will be able to accurately show how each department did for the year. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. Last week, they said I was $100,000 over because of insurance. This is showing $30,000.
There was a issue with how, when the program was set up originally, they didn't code the insurance expense as an expense. They coded it as a liability, so a beginning balance and ending balance carried forward throughout the years. That's incorrect, and it has been corrected and code since then.
So not $100,000?
No, sir.
Thank goodness, huh?
No, sir.
All right. I feel a little better now.
Sleep better tonight.
Where did you go and spend it all? Exactly. All right.
So this amendment came at the suggestion of Host Away Netterville?
They suggested last year that this is how it was supposed to be, and if we don't amend it tonight to fix it this way, during their audit, they're gonna.
Would be amended next month.
Correct. By the close of their audit,
All right, I got you. I got you.
we want the,
We have to deal with it.
so we want it before they write their final audit report.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct? Okay.
Who's the sponsor for this? Who's sponsoring
Sue.
this?
Proposed, any further questions? Proposed ordinance number 2016-7.
The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman. This is for refunding the bond.
This is,
Benton?
I thought we amended the agenda
Unanimously?
for this.
We did.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a,
what-
To add it,
right,
yeah.
to add it.
Unanimous, you guys want me to do this?
Is that unanimous?
Yep.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sure.
That's all I'm on.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance of blank dollars of public improvement refunding bonds, Series 2016 of the City of Harahan, State of Louisiana, prescribing the form, terms, and conditions of such bonds and providing for the payment thereof, and providing for other matters in connection therewith.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add one other ordinance for first reading.
What's the?
I have a copy of it
ordinance?
for everyone here. You have the
Come
copy
on,
in front
you
of
wanna
you?
read it?
It's an ordinance relating to admission standards for particulate matter. I think everyone's received a
Everybody's
copy
seen
of
this,
it.
yes.
First, yes.
Do I have a second? Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Can, before we can do this, I just want to make sure that we go back. I want to ask Mr. Jimmy a question about the proposal, okay, of that prior ordinance. I have a motion by Councilman Hewitt, seconded by Councilman Wheeler, to amend the agenda to add an ordinance by title of, Madam Clerk?
2016-8.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't have an extra copy.
You have them?
An ordinance amending the Harahan Municipal Code by adding a new article to Chapter 30 relating to emission standards for particulate matter, making findings and containing other provisions relating to the foregoing subject, and providing for severability.
I have a motion by Councilman Hewitt, seconded by Councilman Wheeler to amend the agenda for stated ordinance. All in favor?
Yay.
It's for first reading. Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion passes. Agenda is amended to add the ordinance for first reading. And it will be
It will be
2016.
Proposed ordinance number 2016-8.
Thank you. To go back to the prior proposed ordinance for first reading, Mr. Jimmy, if you would speak to the necessity of this ordinance as well for the bond. Did you have anything to say? It's Mr. Don, it was actually through Mr. Martin. I think Linda had spoke to. Madam Clerk, do you mind, what did Mr. Martin's office tell you about?
Just the numbers, they'll have the numbers, they won't have them till right before the June meeting, they said. That's all he said.
This ordinance is necessary in order to move forward with the bond
right.
refinance.
And I gave you all a copy of the timetable.
And we had delayed this, correct?
By 1 month.
Didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why was it delayed?
I'd have to pull the minutes to speak to
Yeah,
it.
come and
so.
talk. Yeah, I forget
They were
exactly
missing
what he said.
numbers or something?
Yeah, it was way
Oh,
earlier,
yeah,
something
wait,
like that,
that's the
right, yeah.
millage, is it?
That's what we're
No,
no,
Mr. Martin
oh.
had said there was something that caused a delay, that he needed to delay it.
Okay, I'll ask
That's
him
what
what the
it was.
delay was all about, yeah.
But what we're expecting is the day before the next city council meeting, he will have those numbers to plug in at the last minute for the council. So I just wanted to forewarn everyone that's going to be coming late.
So this had to deal with waiting on assessor office information?
No, that's the millage,
This
this is for the
getting
bond,
them
refinancing the
confused.
bond, yeah.
This is
This
refinancing the bond.
So they were waiting on other numbers?
Yes, they were waiting on.
I'd have to pull the minutes to read exactly what, I don't recall the
Yeah,
exact
I'll ask
language
Mr.
he
Hu
used.
tomorrow, I'll give him a call
And
and ask him what the holdup was.
in fact, we have the minutes in our packet. We probably could look at it
Could
right now.
comb through the 12 pages.
Old business. There's no old business. New business, I don't believe there's any new business either. Correct, Madam Clerk?
Correct.
We are now back to address the council. Anyone who would wish to speak to address the council, please come up, state your name and your address, please. And remember, you have
3 minutes?
How could I forget?
I know, huh? Or more?
Oh, I don't know.
Robert Johnson, 6735 Riverside Drive. I want to thank the Harahan Police Department for their prompt response. When we asked for an officer to come to the levee Saturday afternoon to observe the unloading, the barge unloading of limestone, which we understood to be an unpermitted activity in Harahan, and the police officer did come and make an observation of that and did make a report. We did not allege that there was dumping going on into the Mississippi River. I think there may be some confusion as what is authorized due to Ordinance 1720, which was passed to make a temporary change to the Batcher District provisions to allow the temporary stockpiling of limestone during pump to the river. This was done to eliminate, because it was thought that the pump to the river project would eliminate access between the facilities on both sides. Well, currently there's no problem in access. Dump trucks go from one side to the other from the two ramps. So I think council may want to go ahead and, for purposes of the Batcher ordinance, to make a resolution or take other actions to declare that the pump to the river project is closed. It's finished for purposes of this, and therefore this temporary change to our zoning ordinance is no longer necessary and should no longer be in effect. Because that would clear up their confusion, apparently, as to what they are allowed to do with limestone in Harahan. They're only allowed to stockpile it, but they are somehow under the mistaken belief that they can unload it from barges, which is not the case.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
John Reen, 3 Rent Pass. I'm going to bring this back up again. The unloading of the limestone was done within the city of Harahan, right down here. It was documented by the Harahan Police Department, and it was virtually like an in-your-face thing that they violated the 1333. You know, what more do we need to say that we need to enforce this some kind of way? We need this obnoxious and offensive dust that's coming over. We've addressed the DEQ. It seems like, you know, they do things, but it takes a while for them to do it. You know, we need to get on the ball and see what we can do to protect the citizens of Harahan. I think that's why y'all all elected, and I think we need your help. So something needs to be done, so brainstorm or whatever and figure something out because we need help. So appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Reen.
Evelyn Ream at 3 Rent Pass. I would like to say that I am very frustrated. And this ordinance that Sue had, we had a long time to think about it. And Wood was here, the last meeting, was fighting against it. Not fighting against it, but did want it to happen. I'm disappointed to the fact that we saw it on the agenda, so we thought that perhaps it was going to be voted on. I don't understand how we had no clue that it would be taken off because it seemed that the company that was here left the room even before it was said it wasn't going to be on there. So I would like to know who informed Wood Materials that at that action that we witnessed was going to be taken, because we were not informed of that. And I guarantee you, if they didn't know that, they would have sat there the entire time and waited for that verdict to be said. I am very disappointed with that. This is definitely not right. Citizens are going through terrible ordeals. If any one of you lived on the River Road, any one of you, police, fire department, any one of you, lived on around that levee, this would not be going on. This is unfair that we have an ordinance to help us, that we do so much homework to do something, and they will stand up here and state they're going to do things, and they don't do it. Do you understand what I'm saying? When they said to the DEQ they would close this, they closed it. When they got their letter of NOD released, guess what they did? They opened it. They're saying things that they're going to do, and they're not doing them. We are not harassing anyone. We are hard-working citizens that care about our community, and we need our council and our mayor and all the residents and the police department and everybody to care enough to help us. I appreciate the help that we're getting from council members. I appreciate the mayor on the DEQ, but we need more than that. We need more. Now, because the regulatory board states they don't know nothing, I don't know why they weren't informed. We came the month before that meeting. We came and we sat here, 3 people, waited for them to decide to say the Pledge of Allegiance. We sat here, got up with our book. They looked at all our pictures. We told them the story. We talked for a very long time. They were fully aware of the situation. For them to delay this, I don't understand. I don't understand. And we're really having a problem with this. This means for 2 more months. Subin, thank you for your ordinance. Thank you for your ordinance. We realize now how good it is. We was here to fight it. We know now it is good.
Can I have would anyone like to give a motion to
Motion.
extend time? I
Motion to
have a
extend
motion
time.
by
Thank you, I
Councilman
appreciate it. This is
Johnston.
enough to make
Do
us
I have
really-
a second? I have a second by Councilman Benton. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
I have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion passes.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're tired. Mr. Bernie, I'm sorry that you saw all of that. We did a test. We have a test. And there are things in that test that are dangerous. We can't do much more. We have been working on this 10 months, but when they get up here and say we're harassing them, that is not true. We do not harass anybody. We stand on the levee and we quietly take pictures. That is not harassing. They state that they're gonna maybe blacktop the road. I don't think we can deal with this much more. It's hurting the residents and it's hurting the community, and I think it's simply the fact that it is obnoxious and offensive, and it's all over our homes, and I appreciate it if all of y'all would come walk with us into the homes and see that the residents have to pressure wash their homes. Children are outside playing, and it has to stop. It has to. The only thing we're asking is close all the openings. Go to the back like you do from Bailey to Raven. Close the openings. We can't have openings. And do something behind the pit for the trucks. It's not much to ask. It really isn't. Now, since we've been addressing it, DEQ is being very helpful. They're addressing it with us. Vida's office is addressing it with us. We need the sand to be monitored. If you go down Airline Highway, there's a company called Lafarge Concrete. Lafarge Concrete. You would never know the company was right there. And the reason you never know the company's right there is because they water their stockpiles. The DEQ states they need to be watering their stockpiles. They don't do that. So when the wind blows, the openings are there, it comes into the community. For 2 more months, we will have dump trucks running 20 hours a day. And also, we will just have the continuous sand. They get up here and they say one thing, but they don't do it. I got proof right here. They don't do it. But they're going to accuse us of harassing them. We're not the only people who have addressed this. 15 years ago, we have a resident over here. Thank you for coming, Ms. Joanne. We are the 4th one. You might be familiar with a couple. I don't remember what their names are. In 2013, they addressed it, a couple, but they moved. So it has to get done. We can't just sit here for 2 more months and have our health like this because the regulatory board just said we're going to wait 2 more months. That is very unfair. Where did they get the right to do that to us? So all I can say, I'll quit talking, but all I can say is this is wrong. There's no way that our council and mayor cannot come up with something to make this company do its right, and that's not have this obnoxious and offensive dust, light, noise, vibrations, sand. Thank you. I appreciate you giving me extension.
Thank you.
It's not supposed to be like a okay, sorry. There you go. That's good communication.
Hi, Kay Mitchell, 41 Oak. My question is what is the urgency from you guys? Because it's urgent with us that we get this handled. It's so, I have sand coming out the vents of my air conditioner. Y'all, it's so uncomfortable. And I didn't live here during summer last year. We moved in October 1st. And I thought it was just weird that, we had a blighted house next to us, and I'm thinking, okay, all this stuff is coming from this house. It's not. These gigantic flies are not coming from the house. The sand's not coming from the house. It is going to be a rough summer. Please don't make us wait another 2 months. It's going to be a long summer, a long sandy summer. Hey, look, put a beach out there for us. We can maybe funnel the sand and have a beach. That would be great. But this is not a beach. This is where we live. This is where we live.
We will now address the council. Secretary's report.
Secretary's report for April. Revenues, $373,377.48.
Thank you. Reports. Chief Walker. Do you mind just taking the mic when you stand up, please? Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Wheeler.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, viewing public. It's the
That's what happens when we wax the floors. Things got moved.
There you go. It's the monthly report for April 2016. We had 694 calls for service. We had 14 accidents that were reported. We issued 124 citations for 228 charges. There were 7 patrol requests. We had 140 arrests. There was 258 charges, 75 were traffic, 17 felony, 136 misdemeanor, and 30 city. crimes, we had 2 attempted burglaries, 1 motor vehicle theft, 6 larceny thefts, and 15 assaults. Also, from May 23rd through June 5th, Harahan Police Department will be participating with the nationwide, with the Louisiana Highway Safety Commission, Click It a Ticket. That's involving you wearing your seatbelts. It's a very successful program. It saved a lot of lives, and we ask y'all to participate. Another note, we keep asking y'all to lock your cars. Monday a week ago, I had a knock at my house, 3 police officers. Individual was going through a neighborhood, breaking into cars that weren't locked, and actually got caught trying to break into my city car. His 3 accomplices
Was
were
that by
also arrested.
near your home?
Pardon?
Where
In
was
my
that?
driveway. In my driveway.
They didn't know who they were
They
dealing with.
apparently didn't, but they got caught. It was very good work on our department. Call had come out on Oak Street. One officer went over to Oak, another one started playing the area. And it just so happened when he passed my house, this gentleman was at my car door with a sock on his hand trying to open the door. And right after that, his accomplices passed. They wound up stopping them, recovered a weapon that was taken out of another car just a few blocks away. So I can't plead enough. Please lock your vehicles. And if you see anything suspicious, don't hesitate to either call the department or call 911. Also, school will be out in another week. Please drive safely. And please follow us on our Facebook page. Thank you.
Chief St. Cyr.
I bet you Chief Walker was glad he locked his doors that day, because that would have been awfully embarrassing.
You know, that should be reported to the national news, under, dumb crooks, right? Yeah, dumb criminals.
Okay, report for the fire department, Todd St. Cyr, Fire Chief for the City of Harahan. Report for calls of service for April 2016. We had 3 medical assistance calls, 3 structure fires, 3 auto accidents with injury, 4 automatic fire alarms, 2 calls for down power lines, 1 trash fire, and 1 investigation for 17 total calls. Ms. Evelyn, I wanted to state this publicly. If you would give me a copy of that report, I wouldn't mind looking at it from a hazardous material response perspective. Because a lot of the things that you mentioned, although sound awfully scary, depending on the levels that they are, aren't harmful at all. So, I mean, it's things that
Thank
we
you so
find
much.
everyday life and the air and water that we drink. And although, so it may not be as bad as you may think. I know you have the EQ helping you as well, but I'd like to know just from. Well, no, I get that. And, I mean, that, and at any level, and for, time exposed.
And I think it's a good idea that we submit it
I'd like to
officially
know,
into our records.
Since there is a report out
And
there
we need
or
to
a test that was
address
taken,
it.
I'd love to review that. And at least, from our perspective, know what we're dealing with. We do still have fire alarms available, so if you call the station at 737-9957, we'd be happy to get out and install 1 or 2 or 3 at your home. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Hewitt, any report?
No report.
Councilman Wheeler?
Just a couple things. Today's my husband's birthday, so I just want to
Oh,
wish him a
happy
happy birthday. And my parents just recently celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. So
That's wonderful.
I mentioned it was last month, and I totally forgot. So Mom and Dad, sorry, I'm mentioning it this month.
Thank you. Councilman Johnson?
No report.
Councilman Benton?
I just wanted to say this to Ms. Reams. I think I was at that meeting, and Mr. Burris, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it was said at that meeting that by their delaying it by 2 months, we wouldn't be able to vote on it. I think it was said. Do you remember? I don't remember that. You don't? Maybe I just thought it in my head, because that's what I was thinking. I was frustrated about it because I knew that.
Mr. Beers, before you answer that, Ms. Reams, I meant to say this too. When I originally got the agenda, I emailed all the council members, including the mayor and Mr. Burris, because that was my understanding. I had spoken to members from Planning and Zoning after the meeting, and they had mentioned to us about them deferring, and I believe it's for 60 days. So that's why I initially brought up the concern to the mayor and the attorney and the other council members, because that was the impression that I was under. The impression was we had to wait for their recommendation before we can move forward. So that was, I just wanted to let you know.
Well, we
Oh.
can't speak from the
I
seated,
just-
and we can talk
okay.
after
I
if
just
you
wanted
don't
to
mind.
clarify that with you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
and I just,
We're just going to continue Ms. Benton's report, please. Thank you.
Okay, that's okay. So the other thing, I don't feel like we should have to wait. They're an advisory board. They have no,
Agreed.
we never listen to them anyway.
Tell us what to do.
So I really don't know why we waited, but I felt like that was what we were supposed to do. Because if we didn't defer it and it got withdrawn or whatever, then we would have to re-advertise and start all over. So that's why I just went ahead and deferred it. But I really believe we should just vote on it, and we could vote on it at the next meeting, except
We can also,
Well, Councilman Wheeler, you brought that up to ask what we
I
should do,
did.
right?
Yes, ma'am, I sent an email to everyone, because that was my concerns when I saw it on the
Okay.
agenda. It was my understanding, and that's what I was asking for clarification on, was that I had understood that planning and zoning had deferred it for 60 days. So the question was, are we allowed to discuss it, or that was the clarification I was waiting for.
Because we were all eager to move it
Yes.
forward and approve it,
I
not
was
knowing
just
why they
wanting to
delayed
get
it 2 months.
clarification on the proper
what,
protocol.
let me bring you back to what happened on this. The ordinance was introduced by Councilman Benton, and I believe it was you, Councilman Youth, that said, well, doesn't this have to go to planning and zoning? So the next meeting, and I forget whether it was a special meeting or a regular meeting, but I was told, well, this has been sent over to planning and zoning. I went, well, who did that? How did that happen? In any case, it wound up in front of planning and zoning, and they decided to defer it for 60 days because, you know, they were sort of, to use the expression, cold cocked with this. They didn't, they had no idea what was going on, and they're presented with this thing that you guys have heard. But my initial opinion, and I think it was to you, Councilman Johnson, was that the case law is to the effect that the council always keeps control of the zoning law. The Planning and Zoning Advisory Board is simply that. It's advisory. You guys are the ones who make the decisions on planning and zoning. So if you want to move forward with that ordinance, I don't think you have to wait on what planning and zoning does with the thing. That said, tonight we've got another ordinance that deals specifically with particulate matter. We've also heard that there's a report with some objective evidence of what's going on out there. We've got all these reports from citizens about the amount of sand that's being dropped. We've got one gentleman who's speaking about, he's got his business in Jefferson, and he can't even, I was shocked to see his photographs. The question is whether this is a nuisance now that has become so great that it's worthy of action in a court of law. The case law that I've been looking at just recently indicates that a lot of these cases on abatement of a nuisance are brought by the individuals who are suffering from the nuisance. And, it's easy to look at a zoning ordinance when it's clear, and it says you can only run this kind of business in a certain locality. And then some other business pops up, like a ballroom or a strip club, and the next door neighbor says, I want this nuisance abated. The zoning law clearly doesn't permit this kind of use. Well, then it's easy for a judge. This isn't quite that way. This ordinance is a little bit more touchy-feely. It says this is a permitted use to operate the sand pit. But here's something I just ran into doing some research. It's a case out of the Louisiana Supreme Court in 2008. It is a general principle of law that owners may use their property as they please, with the exception that they do no injury to others, under the theory, and there's some Latin here that I won't go into. Then the court drops a footnote. The Bournemouth court further found that it is the universally accepted rule of law that the owner of property has a right to conduct thereon any lawful business, not per se a nuisance, as long as the business is so conducted that it will not unreasonably inconvenience a neighbor in the reasonable enjoyment of his property. But every business, however lawful, must be conducted with due regard to the rights of others, and no one has a right to erect and maintain a nuisance to the injury of his neighbor, even in the pursuit of a lawful trade, or to conduct a business on his own land in such a way as will be injurious or offensive to those residing in the vicinity. The question I have as a lawyer is whether the individual citizens are the ones who are the proper party plaintiffs, because they're the ones who are actually being injured.
Who brought that suit? Who brought that complaint?
The case is called Peterson M. Yoakum and Polly Elizabeth Anderson versus 615 Bourbon Street LLC, The Rock, Old Opera House, Inc., and the Old Opera House in Willie Mintz. And this case is a 2008 case that went made it to the Supreme Court of the state of Louisiana. So you see, in this case, it's the individuals who are suing over the nuisance. They're the folks who are saying, I'm the one being injured, because I, got to vacuum up my house, I got to change my air filters, I can't keep my car clean, my house is always a mess. The question I've had as a lawyer since I started hearing about this is where the city's interest is in this. We clearly know that the compost operation out there is simply not permitted by our zoning law. I mean, that's just as clear as can be. Composting is defined in the zoning ordinance. They're running a compost operation out there. It's not a permitted use in the NU district. The sand is a little bit different. That, if they're dirtying the streets, that's something that, is offending
Which they are.
the city
Right.
of Harahan.
But now
If
it's
they're
affecting
violating-
Jefferson Parish.
If they're violating traffic laws, if they're not covering those loads, if we have an ordinance that says you have to cover the load, then they're violating a law of the city of Harahan. So this is sort of a mixed question as to who actually brings the suit and what the suit's going to be about. Many years ago, and I shared this with you when I got the Corps of Engineers documents, the mayor of the city, and I believe it was Mayor Ferrara, there was an agreement that wood materials would do certain things. Cover the trucks, not drop stuff on the road, make sure that the trucks didn't have sand on them. Sand piles wouldn't be, higher than the levee. But that was just a letter agreement from the mayor saying, yeah, well, we'll sign off on this. This was never reduced to the law. It was never reduced to something in the city code. So that's been my concern all along, that we needed specific provisions to go after them on this. I think I've told the residents this already. If you're suffering a nuisance, perhaps the way to go is to hire a lawyer and go after the neighbor who's causing you a problem. I mean, we've got examples of this right now that are pending in the courts, where one neighbor builds a house higher than the next door neighbor and there's water runoff, and then the neighbors sue each other and bring the city into it.
It's just unfortunate that we have to put it on the citizens that are taxpayers when 1333, and you and I talked about this in January when you first came on as our city
Yeah.
attorney, and it says nuisance. And you said it's difficult to define that, Dana.
And-
I think now, I mean, it almost seems as though we have enough of a case to prove the nuisance.
And because the intensity of the use has gotten so much greater out there with the airport project, it probably has now risen to that level.
Right.
So being that we deferred until the August meeting, and say we, with this information we're getting, that we really don't have to wait for the board, how do we go about where we can change it? Being that the meeting's not over yet, can we go back and
Correct.
change
I was
it
gonna
to
ask the
where
same
it's
thing.
not August?
I really shouldn't be discussing prospective litigation in a public meeting like this, because it's really an executive session matter.
I thought I
But it-
turned off my phone, my daughter.
But it
everybody.
is, what I'm thinking of now is not so much the ordinance as a civil action.
But can we bring the ordinance back up and
Sure.
vote on it?
Sure.
Because it's still during the meeting, so we can,
We could
if
take
it's
the
on,
August
still,
deferral
we
away.
can
Just
take
take it out, just
back
take it out
onto
of
the
order and, move to amend the agenda and take it out of order.
So we do not need to wait for the recommendation for planning and zoning?
I've never
Okay, I
thought
just-
you needed
just
that.
wanna-
I don't know
Right.
how it wound up over there, to tell you
Right.
the truth.
I was
We
gonna,
asked you.
Then when we.
talked
Yeah,
about
you-
it,
well, then
but it
when-
was kind of back and forth. We couldn't make a determination.
Mr. Bureau, so then when it came up, then why would we advise to defer it if you're saying we didn't need planning and zoning's
Well,
recommendation? We could have voted on it
we've-
right then and there.
We've heard so much now from the address the council issue.
Oh, okay. I just-
So, tonight, I think we've all learned some stuff that we didn't know before, especially about the intensity of the use, and I'm very happy that this particulate matter ordinance made it here, because we do need specific, objective measures, like I've told you all along, to go out there and say, you're now in violation of an objective measure. We've deferred to DEQ because they're supposed to be the experts on this, but I haven't seen anything concrete come out of DEQ's involvement.
Well, let's vote on it.
I just want to say one more thing, and I thought we wanted to defer it because you had brought it up that it needed to go before planning.
I
and
didn't say
zoning.
it needed to. I asked the city attorney if it needed to.
Well,
Yeah,
but-
and I gotta tell you, I don't know how it made it over there, because I never saw anything come out of the council that said, we're sending it over. It was just like one of these meetings, well, how did this get to planning and zoning? I think I sent an email around about that, but it's there now.
Yeah, it was
so.
actually in an email stating it had to go. Maybe something got confused
No,
along the
no.
way, but yeah.
I'm pretty jealous of the council's right
Hey,
to
it
do what it
doesn't
wants.
matter.
It doesn't
We're
matter. That's
fixing
not
it.
my
Let's
problem.
vote
We're
on
gonna
it.
fix it, right.
Doesn't matter.
Can I have a recess for a second, please, Mr. Burris? May I
Sure.
speak with you, please?
You're now in recess. The city council meeting is back from recess. Councilman Burris, can you get? Oh, sorry. City attorney. I am just, I'm ready to go see my son, I think. I'm so sorry.
Not obviously. Could have gone.
I know, what is with that? City Attorney Burris, I'd like your recommendation about maybe potentially going into, calling for executive session to discuss the ordinance that was deferred, considering that it,
I would suggest that you go into executive session for the purpose of discussing potential litigation.
thank you. Councilman Wheeler, do I have a motion to go into
Motion.
executive session? I have a motion by Councilman Wheeler, seconded by
Second.
Councilman Johnston. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion passes. We're going into executive session. Thank you. The regular city council meeting is back from recess, and Ms. Benton?
Okay. I move to reconsider the motion to defer ordinance 2016-3 to the August council meeting.
I have a motion by Councilman Benton. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Councilman Johnston. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion passes.
I make a motion to withdraw the motion to defer ordinance 2016-3.
I have a motion by Councilman Benton, seconded by
Second.
Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 0, 1 absent. Motion passes.
I make a motion to move, I make a motion to send, to have the mayor send a communication to the advisory board to report back on ordinance 2016-3 at the next regular meeting of the Harahan City Council.
I have a motion by Councilman Benton, seconded by
Second.
Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion passes.
I have make a motion to place ordinance 2016-3 on the agenda of the meeting of the Harahan, the June meeting of the Harahan City Council.
I have a motion by Councilman Benton, seconded by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. Motion passes. Well done, Councilman Benton. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. And now, we were in report.
I'm good.
We're in report.
I'm good.
Does anyone else have anything to say? Because I
No
think the
comment.
report is
Let's
on
go.
me now. I'd like to thank everyone on the council tonight. I'd like to thank our city attorney. I'd like to thank the patience of our residents and everyone here. I am very proud tonight this council and I work together in unison to safeguard all who live in Harahan, work, play, worship, everything. It's been a very good evening, a little longer than we wished.
The rain's coming.
The rain's
Let's
coming,
go.
oh, sorry.
Motion.
Okay, pay the bills.
Bills paid in April, $299,844.45.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
I have a motion by
Second.
Councilman
Motion.
Johnson, seconded by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? We have 4 yeas, 1 absent. We are adjourned.